Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State and another, governor from the APC having light-hearted chats with Governor Nyesom Wike, and Nigerians seem to be wondering, is it that PDP has not been able to put their house together? Don't forget that sometime last week we talked about that, that there's the annoyance on the part of okay, so our guest is ready. Our guest is definitely ready. We are going to delve into this conversation now. Our guest actually is Jide Ojo, who is the Executive Director, Oja Development Consult. He is an author, columnist with The Punch, host of Development Focus with Jide Ojo on ITV, and public affairs analyst. Good morning, Mr. Jide. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Okay, I think you seem to have lost that call.
Yeah.
We'll try to reconnect back with Mr. Jide, and of course we'll get to the crux of this conversation. Yeah. But I know you were saying something. About
the bromance between some APC governors and Governor Nyesom Wike. It's quite interesting.
I'm thinking.
Yes.
Don't you think sometimes Nigerians why don't you think we are interpreting some of these unharmful visits?
No. I'm not saying it's unharmful, okay? Yeah. Or rather, it's harmful. Yeah. That's not what I'm saying.
Not harmful in that sense. It might just be some leaders hanging out for brunch.
No, it's not.
We are taking the videos.
And no, it's not some leaders hanging out for lunch. It's not some leaders hanging out for lunch right now, but I think there's just a lot of politicking going on beneath all that we're seeing. Of course, they didn't let us into what exactly, transpired in that meeting, but you could possibly not say that this is just some kind of mere visitation of, three big governors of the APC going all the way to Rivers State to visit Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State. Now, let's not also forget that there's been the squabble in the PDP concerning who the they wanted actually to be the vice presidential candidate for the PDP, and Atiku Abubakar as the flag bearer of PDP coming out to choose Okowa has caused a lot of in-house squabbles in the PDP. And for some people, they just think that what APC is trying to do is trying to buy Nyesom Wike of Rivers State, knowing fully well how powerful, I would like to use that word, how powerful and influential that the Wike person can be. They're trying to lobby Wike to cross over to the APC and then see how they can, actually use him to take up power in 2023. That is what a lot of Nigerians are saying actually about whatever is going on the ground between some of these APC governors and Nyesom Wike as well. Yeah. See, so I don't see it as just being mere visits, yeah. Right? So this has never happened, okay. Even though maybe they've been meeting in conferences or summits or whatever, or maybe Federal Executive Council meetings, yeah. Or they have a meeting with the president and they are all there, okay. So for that they can meet. But when you say that governors, three governors, yeah. Big governors, decide to go all the way to Port Harcourt to visit Wike, then there's something underneath it.
I know that one question I'm going to have to ask Mr. Jide Ojo is, do they have the freedom of ground to be able to change their vice presidential candidate after they have already endorsed somebody? Because we know that someone gave a postulation this past week, yeah. And said, what if all these backdoor communications and visits that Nyesom Wike is entertaining from the APC? What if tomorrow we hear that he has pitched his tent in the APC and then he
becomes the vice presidential,
the vice presidential candidate? What's it going to be like? So yeah, hello, Mr. Jide. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, sir. We can hear you absolutely loud and clear. Bright Monday morning to you. You're live on Spectrum Television now.
It's a pleasure.
All right, so thank you for joining us. My name is Uyaya Nyeken, and I'm here with
Janice.
Okay. It's
Okay,
a
so
pleasure to be with
maybe
you.
I'll just have to reintroduce you again. Jidojo is the executive director, Oja Development Consult. He's an author and a columnist with The Punch. He is also host of Development Focus with Jidojo on ITV and Public Affairs Analyst. Thank you so much for joining us on Spectrum
My
TV
pleasure.
Live this morning.
It's a pleasure to be with you.
Okay, so we're going to start the conversation this way now. A lot of issues have been cropping up in the political space in terms of who becomes vice presidential candidate and who does not for the different political parties that we have in Nigeria. But I think one that is causing some kind of buzz and receiving some kind of acceptability from a lot of Nigerians right now is the Peter Obi and Ahmed Dati tickets. So let's start from that this morning. What do you think about these two people as Labour Party candidates?
Thank you for the opportunity. I think it's a welcome development. Labour Party up until now has been in the doldrums. Nothing much has been heard of it since the exit of former Ondo State Governor Olusegun Mimiko, Dr. Olusegun Mimiko, who happens to be the only governor the Labour Party has ever produced since it was registered about 2003. So, uh, not until Peter Obi decided to join the party in May 2022 did we see the revival of the Labour Party. And since he joined, there have been a soar in the number of Nigerians who have enrolled to be member of the Labour Party. Uh, what I think of the Peter Obi Abedati ticket is a very balanced ticket. Um, Peter Obi is from Anambra State, which is southeast, and Abedati is from Kaduna State, which is in the northwest Nigeria. And of course, Ahmed Dati's grandparents migrate from Mauritania, and but they've nationalized as Nigerians. And then when you look at the pedigree of both Peter Obi and Ahmed Dati, it's very rock solid. Peter Obi, we know, is a very successful banker and a businessman. He was a governor of Anambra State for 8 years, during which period a lot of people, lauded him for prudence in public finance and the fact that he was able to deliver on the infrastructural development of Anambra State. Ahmed Dati owns two universities, University of Base University here in Abuja, and then there is Kano State University in Kano State. These are top-notch private universities. And he also has political pedigree. He was a former member of House of Representatives and a former senator. So the bottom line is that both of them are from the private sector. They are technocrats. And I want to believe that they will add value to Nigeria's governance system if they eventually get elected in February 2023.
Okay, sir. With regards to the chances that they stand in the general elections come 2023, what do you think that their ticket, the combination of both of them as against all these other parties, what do you think their chances are in the face of Nigeria?
Well, I would say, without any fear of equivocation, that they are the third force. A lot of people have been yearning for alternative to PDP and APC. And, this Labour Party ticket or presidential standard bearer provides that opportunity of a third force. So many Nigerians who are not inclined to vote for the former ruling party, People's Democratic Party, or the current ruling party, that's the All Progressive Congress, have a third choice of voting for Peter Obi Ahmed Dati ticket under the Labour Party. But the chances, their chance is bright, but only to the extent that they can turn their social media followership to votes. We have seen during the just concluded primaries last month that the fact that you are very popular on social media does not necessarily translate to votes. We saw Shehu Sani with 2.6 million followers on Twitter, who could only muster 2 votes during the governorship primary of PDP in Kaduna State. So politics is not a game. I mean, like INEC will tell you, there are no polling units on social media, and INEC will not count your prayer points. INEC will only count your votes. So those who are obedient, I like that coinage from Obi. His followers have coined obedient. Those who are obedient should do the needful. Right now, INEC is organizing, INEC is still conducting continuous voter registration exercise, and they need to get their permanent voters card, not only registered, but they should collect it at the appropriate time, and they should come out to vote during the election. Because in my own years of experience in studying Nigerian politics, even when you have mammoth crowd at your polling, at your political rallies, unless they take the necessary step to come out and vote, you may just be popular without having the chances of winning elections. Because truth be told, if you are looking at the political structure, APC and PDP has better structures than Labour Party. Right from ward level, and we have 8,809 wards in Nigeria. We have 768 local government and 6 area councils. We have 36 governors, and we have 1 president. Now, APC is in control of 22 states. That is where they govern, where they have 22 governors in their kitty. If these 22 governors work for the presidential standard bearer of APC, deploying resources to back up, and the fact that they have their structures down to the ward level, they stand at a better chance than Labour Party, who until very recently is embroiled in factionalization. There are 2 factions in Labour Party, and I don't know whether they've finally resolved, but if they have resolved, what they need to do in the next 7 months before elections will be to ensure that they build the structure of the party from the ward level to local government level to state level, because those are the structures that even when you have the money, they can mobilize and get the votes for you. So the chance of Peter Obi and Ahmed Dati is bright, but a lot of hard work needs to be done, because when you look at how many members do Labour Party have in the Senate, in the House of Reps, in the State Houses of Assembly, and these are the foot soldiers that will do the vote, that will be your vote canvasser. They are the people that will mobilize resources, put down their money and time to help you campaign. So Peter Obi needs to do less of doing town hall meetings and show up. He needs to get to the brass tack. He needs to ensure that the party structures are rock solid across all these political structures. 8,809 wards, 768 local government and 6 area councils of FCT in all the states. And then they need to mobilize more support. If need be, they need to poach from the PDP and APC. Look at what Kwakwanso is doing with NNPP. He's making sure that he's making people to defect from other political parties to NNPP. And that's what Labour Party needs to also try to do, to get more people to join the party, particularly people with political clout, people with political assets, who can deploy resources to help the party in the forthcoming election.
Okay, now I also remember that there was a time that a former governor of Niger State, Aliyu Babangida, was talking about this same Peter Obi issue. And for him, he thinks that Peter Obi cannot be president of Nigeria in 2023. Rather, with what he has started doing now, we look forward to having him come through as president in 2027. Do you also buy into that objection based on what you have just said?
I didn't get that quite clearly.
Okay, so I said that Babangida Aliyu, former governor of Niger State, in an interview recently, said that Peter Obi cannot become president of Nigeria in 2023 because, according to him, just like you have said, the Labour Party does not have a structure. So we should be looking forward to having Peter Obi maybe become president of Nigeria in 2027. Do you also buy into the same opinion of Governor Aliyu Babangida?
Well, it's not impossible, but Peter Obi needs to really, he needs to be identified with an ideology. Let me tell you a bit of Peter Obi. Peter Obi rose to power on the platform of APGA, All Progressive Grand Alliance. Then, after his tenure, he got a successor in the person of Willie Obiano to take over from him. Willie Obiano happens to be from the same Fidelity Bank lineage of Peter Obi. And immediately during the first tenure of Willie Obiano, Peter Obi and Willie Obiano fell apart, the usual fight between Godfather and Godson. And the next thing Peter Obi did, by the end of the first term of Willie Obiano, Peter Obi had already moved to Labour, had already moved to People's Democratic Party, backing another candidate against his own anointed successor, which is Willie Obiano. Of course, his own candidate lost to Willie Obiano in the re-election bid in Anambra. And then the next thing, the moment Peter Obi saw that his chances of getting the ticket in PDP was very dim, he jumped ship and moved to Labour Party. Now, if he doesn't win in 2023 and he decides to jump ship to another party, it will be like a rolling moss. It will be like a rolling stone that gathers no moss. He will need to stand with the Labour Party, make sure that they build the party into a winning platform. He's still young. It should be this time that, look, Igbo presidency is not a very hot cake in Nigeria, given the fact that when you look at the three major tribes in Nigeria, Igbos has the least number of voters. The entire 5 southeast of the Igbos, their vote is not up to more than 2 states in northwest Nigeria. Between Kano and Jigawa, those 2 states will produce more votes than the entire 5 states of the southeast will produce. So Kano alone has about 7 million registered voters as we speak. I'm not sure the entire southeast has up to those numbers. And you know that is supposed to be the home advantage for Peter Obi. Then the IPOB agitation is also giving a lot of Nigerians concern about Igbo presidency. But be that as it may, you asked me whether if he fails to win in 2023, whether 2027 may
He
work
stand
for
a
him.
chance for
Yes,
him.
it is a possibility. Look at the incumbent president. He contested 4 times before he won. He contested for presidency in 2003, in 2007, in 2011, before he eventually won in 2015. So power is not served a la carte. Igbos need to mainstream themselves into national politics. And Labour Party, like I told you, does not have the structure, apart from the fact that the two other major ethnic groups do not trust Igbo as whether they can be trusted with power at the center. Though there are those who believe that the full meaning of Igbo is I before others, that Igbos are not to be trusted, particularly with all this hyper agitation, calling Nigeria zoo, and all of that. And like I pointed out, Igbos do not even have the, the voting strength to match any other part of this country. So that may be a militating factor against the success of P2B in 2023. But if he's able to stay within the Labour Party and rebuild the Labour Party, ensure that they get as many people into the National Assembly, into the state houses of assembly, into the governorship positions, by 2023 and by 2027, he may make better impact. He may win in 2027. So I agree with what Babangida Aliyu, former governor of Niger State, said.
Okay,
2023 may not work for P2B, even though he has a very good chance of winning. But we wait to see. It's still some 7 months to elections.
Okay,
we
so
wait to see what pans out eventually.
Okay.
all right, so we'll move that conversation and just, hope that the Labour Party does their homework right, and wish Peter Obi and Yusuf Ahmed all the best. But now let's move to the APC governors and their closed-door meetings and visits to Nyesom Wike, governor of Rivers State. A lot has been happening in that quarters, and people are looking at some form of poaching, going on behind closed doors. Is there any anticipation for Nyesom Wike to poach onto APC? And what do you think these closed door meetings are about?
Okay. In politics, my sister, in politics, there's only one thing that is permanent, and that is interest. As the popular saying goes, in politics, there is no permanent friendship or enmity. It's only interest that is permanent. In the last 1 month, Nyesom Wike has suffered 2 major defeats. He suffered the defeat of not getting the ticket of PDP to become the standard bearer of the party, and also suffered in a more humiliating manner to be the running mate to Atiku Abubakar. Now, there's a trending video where he was alleged to be frolicking with APC. But if we discontinue that viral video, the visit of the 3 governors of APC, that's Akeredolu of Ondo, and Dr. Fayemi of APC, and then the Sanwo-Olu of Lagos, alongside with Ayodele Fayoshi, former governor of Ekiti State. The recent visit they paid to him after his return from Turkey speaks volumes. And because it's only interest that is permanent in politics, APC may want, not that may, we want to have an Nyesom Wike in their camp, because come to think of it, Rivers State is one of the oil-rich states in Nigeria. I think after Bayelsa, Rivers will be the next in terms of crude oil production. And that means a lot of resources from Federation account. Even when you look at VAT, the amount that Rivers State gets after Lagos. So it's a state that is very rich in resources, and it's also a state with high number of registered voters. In the entire South, Rivers State has the highest number of registered voters. So, and Rivers State, I mean, Nyesom Wike is an incumbent governor. If he decides to pitch his tent uh, with APC, that means the fortune of APC presidential candidate will swell in Rivers State. And, you know, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the standard bearer of APC, will be just too glad to have Rivers State among the APC states. Because if they are able to convince Nyesom Wike to join APC, that means the number of APC governors will become 23, which is almost 2/3 of the entire 36 states of Nigeria. So election is a game of numbers, and whatever may be the personal shortcomings of Nyesom Wike, they need him. They need the resources of Rivers State. Don't forget that APC tried everything in the books to try and wrestle Bayelsa State from in 2019. They did get the victory, but unfortunately, the running mate to David Lyon did them in, and the Supreme Court actually denied them of their victory. So it would be a very good way to compensate for the loss in Bayelsa to have Rivers State join APC, and that will boost their chances in the forthcoming presidential elections.
We also, we are also thinking if Wike will play along, to this particular ploy by the APC governors.
I didn't get that.
I said we are also thinking if Governor Nyesom Wike will actually play along to the ploy of these APC governors.
If he were to play along,
yes.
Do you think that Wike would be,
the camping to the APC?
Oh, of course, you see, it's a man with ego already bruised. His ego has been bruised in PDP, and it seems that PDP is vacillating in the reconciliation effort. So he quite enjoys the media attention on him, that he's become a beautiful bride.
Yeah, I also think so as well.
All the major political actors in Nigeria
are rallying around him, yeah.
Recall that Peter Obi has also visited Nyesom Wike, trying to woo him to join the Labour Party. But I think his chances of joining the APC is very bright.
Okay, Mr. Ojo, let me ask this question, please,
in
Mr.
the coming days.
Okay, let me ask this question. If people are seeing Wike as a very strong force,
what happened in PDP? Why did they let him go?
As not taking him as a vice presidential candidate. That's what I'm trying to say.
Please come again.
I said, if these political actors are seeing Wike as a very strong force to align with, what happened in PDP? Why didn't they take him as the vice presidential candidate?
Exactly. You see, if you look at if you read the press statement by Governor Samuel Ortom of Benue State, he actually expressed the displeasure of some of the governors of PDP by the action and decision of Turaki Adamawa's Atiku Abubakar. You know, he said, why did Atiku Abubakar set up a committee to help him in getting a vice president, to getting him a running mate, when he knew that the decision of the committee will not be binding on him? That there were 17 in the committee, and 40 of them voted to have Nyesom Wike as a running mate to Atiku Abubakar. But out of when the outcome of that was presented to Atiku, he decided to go with the minority opinion. If out of 17, 14 said choosing Nyesom Wike, and 3 said maybe choose Okowa or choose Emmanuel Udo, and you decided to now go for the minority opinion, that has been the cause of grounds within the PDP, so much so that now we are hearing from the rumor mill that about 6 governors of PDP are not willing to canvass for vote for Atiku Abubakar if Okowa remains his vice presidential candidate. So the point is, politics is about conflict management, truly. But I would have loved a situation where Atiku Abubakar and Iyorchia Ayu will have led uh, the committee to reconcile with the party. Unfortunately, Iyorchia Ayu went on vacation to UK. Atiku Abubakar is also allegedly in UK for a degree program or something, and they were sending emissaries to just talk to Wike. And this is what the opposition parties have cashed on to try and lure him to APC. So it's not as if anybody cannot be in doubt of the contribution of Nyesom Wike to PDP. At least a lot of resources of Rivers State has been spent to contribute financially to the fortunes of PDP. And he said, and you need to listen to Nyesom Wike during his campaigns for the ticket of the presidential ticket of PDP. That he has contributed so much to PDP, and that this is the time for the party to reward him with the ticket for the presidency. Unfortunately, politics is not played that way. So by and large, what is playing out is high wire politics, and we wait to see how all of this will pan out. Because even if Wike does not defect to APC, it can also work to undermine the victory of PDP while it's still a PDP government.
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to ask like 2 questions in one so that you can just answer them in one breath. How does this factions, inside parties, how do you see that it could affect the outcome of the elections, in the general elections in 2023? It seems to everybody that all of the 3 major parties now in the in the front of the presidential seats are having factions. Labour Party has a faction and has some issues. APC the same. There is a faction ongoing in the PDP. How do you think that this will affect their fronting in front of the citizens of Nigeria, and who they should put their votes behind? Number 2, with regards to the poaching activities and the reconciliation attempts by PDP towards Wike, would you think, from your standpoint as a political analyst, that this could also be like some form of schematic on the chessboard, where you can we could wake up some weeks to the general elections and you find out that at the end of the day, Nyesom Wike has agreed to become the vice president, of course, the vice president of the People's Democratic Party. Do you think that this is a possible undertone in all of this that they're doing?
Well, I really don't know. The window for substitution of candidates will be closing on the 15th, I think. Today is 11th. So in the coming days, it will be impossible to have anybody withdraw from the race to pave way for Nyesom Wike to be on the ticket. And if Nyesom Wike is put on the ticket, how will Ifeanyi Okowa take it, knowing full well that he had already been previously nominated? So, but like I said, politics is about conflict management, because you cannot have a political organization without its own internal wrangling. I beg to disagree that there is faction in APC. Yes, there are rumblings within the APC fold over the outcome of the primaries. Of course, that is normal and natural because those who lost out will not be happy. Those who won will be happy. So it's like going to court for a case. Those who win at the court will praise the judge. Those who lose will condemn the judge. So what is happening is not even peculiar to, it's not peculiar to APC. The rumblings, the internal wranglings is normal, and many of those who are aggrieved have gone to court to
Okay.
seek redress.
Okay,
Okay.
so with regards to the APC conversation, sorry, the question was actually going to be about the Muslim ticket that the flag bearer Bolaji Tinubu has vied for, of which a lot of Nigeria, Ahmed Tinubu, I beg your pardon, of which a lot of Nigerians have been airing their views as to the non-acceptability of a Muslim ticket. That was the question I was going to pose.
All right.
Okay, so Mr. Joe, let me just say this as regards to, Kashim Shettima, former governor of Borno State, being selected as a running mate for Bola Ahmed Tinubu now. I think the major argument that the APC are posing to a lot of Nigerians is that in 1993, we also had this play out between Abiola, MK Abiola, and King Gibe, the ticket. Of course, Nigerians accepted it as at 1993, but this is causing a lot of eyebrow raising right now. So what do you think about this particular ticket? Muslim tickets, will it fly in 2023? And what's the sensitivity behind this particular action by the APC?
Thank you. You see, one thing we need to know is that the issue of religion and ethnicity is not a constitutional matter. The Constitution did not forbid any political party to choose its running mate from across the Niger, or that you have to have ethnic or religious balancing. So even if a party decides to choose its running mate and the standard bearer from the same ward or local government or state, it has not offended the Constitution. However, I root for inclusivity, and I think in the spirit of inclusivity, the APC should have looked at possibility of having a Christian from the north. But when I read Tinubu's speech yesterday after the nomination of Kashim Shettima, he seems to be playing down on the issue of religion and ethnicity, and believing that what is needed at this point in time is competence. And this also has opened another vista. Do we see the middle belt of Nigeria as of any consequence in terms of election? Because there are several states in the middle belt that are under the control of APC. For instance, Plateau State is under APC, and it is governed by a Christian, Simon Lalong, who also happens to be the chairman of Progressive Governors, Northern Progressive Governors Forum. I do not see why, whether him or any other Christian from the north could not have been put on the ballot together with Tinubu. But definitely it's going to hurt the electoral victory of Tinubu in 2023. The Muslim ticket, right now, there is deep fault lines, fractions, religious bigotry, and all of that. Christian Association of Nigeria said they are going to mobilize against the voting for PDP, for APC, because of the Muslim ticket. But like I said, it is just to get votes that people choose running mate. It is not so much because they have to do it because the Constitution or the Electoral Act prescribe it as a precondition when you are nominating candidates. So if APC has done its own work and feels that after all, there are a significant number of Muslims, even in the southern Nigeria, particularly in southwest Nigeria, and there are also liberal Christians who will not mind even having a Muslim ticket. They have done their own research, their own survey, their own in-house analysis to see that even though it may hurt it may make them to lose 1-2 million of votes, on the whole, they will still be able to coast home to victory. So we wait to see. But I really felt it has brought out the fact that the north central Nigeria, where you have predominantly Northern Christian population, should have been considered at least to produce the running mates to Asiwaju. Because if you talk about marginalization, the North Central, just like the Northeast and the Southeast, has not really produced a executive president in Nigeria since the country got independence 62 years ago. But again, it's a waiting game. Let's see how this will affect the chances of APC. But what goes on for APC is more than what is against it. Because like I said, they are in control of 22 states now. And if they are able to get in Yeson Wike, that makes 23. And they are also have majority in the National Assembly as well as in the state houses of assembly.
Okay, so thank you so much, Jide Ojo. Thank you so much for your time. It's been a robust conversation having you at the other end. Thank you so much for coming to share your wealth of knowledge with us on the show this morning. All right, so that is how much we can take on that particular interview there. Of course, Jide Ojo is Executive Director, Oja Development Consult, author, columnist with The Punch, and host of Development Focus with Jide Ojo TV on ITV, and the public affairs analyst as well. We just hope that we have a better Nigeria. That is just the truth. All fingers are crossed, you know, in preparation for the 2023 elections.
Absolutely.
And then we just hope that, like you said some time ago, it's not a situation of choosing the lesser devil over the bigger devil, or choosing the bigger devil over the lesser devil. We just hope for a better Nigeria.
Absolutely. For the coming elections, it's just more like, actually, fingers crossed, and we hope Nigerians do what they need to do. Weigh your options properly. Everything is out there on the internet to read. You can dig up, you can search, but weigh your options, you know, effectively. Listen to these kinds of discourse that, you know, helps you pitch your tent where we must pitch it in the coming general elections. But that's how much we can take on these very, you know, topical issues in Nigeria, and it's been a really robust conversation here on Rise and Shine this morning.